This is Forbidden Stars. This is set in the world of Warhammer 40,000 and is an epic strategy game for 2 to 4 players. If you know Warhammer 40,000, you will recognize the 4 different factions. We have Space Marines, Chaos Space Marines, Eldar, and Orcs. If you don't know the world of Warhammer 40,000, just know that
you leave right now.
Just know this is an asymmetric game, so 4 different ways to play. Each faction is very different in its style, the strategies, even how the order cards work. You have cards for combat, and you have a way to upgrade and sort of develop exactly what your strategy will be in each game. There are a stack of orders that we play, 4 different orders. Build new units, customize your cards, your combat deck, dominate, which dominate means you're pulling resources from planets you control, and finally, advance. Advance is both movement and then attack if you enter a space with an enemy. Everyone places those orders face down, and so there's hidden information. The board is variable, so there are tiles, they're double-sided. And at the start of the game, you build a map together, one at a time, and you also choose to deploy. You're going to be next to people that you didn't plan to be next to, and immediately you're like, okay, he's going to attack me, and I'm going to do so. There's a lot of tension, like right at the start of the first round. The first tile, you're already thinking, okay, I need to be prepared for anything. It also scales very, very well. So there are some people at the office that only play 2-player. They can get a game done in an hour. The last thing is combat. You and an opponent have cards and some dice, and the cards manipulate the dice results. Either one person is destroyed, the other person is the winner, or you resolve who has the most morale. So Space Marines, for example, their cards tend to cause a lot of morale to be generated. So sometimes you just have one Marine like, and like all the orcs are there, but that one Marine will have enough morale generated that they will win and the orcs will retreat. So it's really cinematic. Chaos Space Marines use the warps, warp storm barriers that sort of float around the board, and they prevent you from moving from one system to an adjacent system. In the Warhammer 40,000 lore, that's where chaos spews out of the warp storms. In this game, the Chaos Space Marines actually can gain power if they're next to warp storms. The Eldar are known for being very tricky, if you know the setting, and they have abilities that let them travel clear across the map. They also retreat. They have a lot of cards that in combat allow them to, in the middle of combat, they're just like where'd they go? And so they're very resilient because they move away. The Orcs are the only faction that don't start with starships. Orcs aren't born, right? They're fungi, they're spores, and so they just pop up, they just appear. Again, like they just, sometimes on other planets, like, oh, there's an orc. And then they have abilities that let them sometimes travel through planets, through an empty void, just like, you know, and so their cards, or combat cards, are very, very crazy. If you're an orc player for Warhammer 40,000, it tends to be very random. Sometimes you're like, yeah, this is great, we got all the weapons, and they blow up, you know, or sometimes you're like, yeah, we got all the weapons, and they destroy everyone. It's suddenly like, everyone re-roll all of your attack dice. You're like, what? You know, and so it's very swingy and freewheeling and fun. There are tons of choices in the game. Every choice matters. And the goal, maybe I should tell you, the way you win is to recover a number of objectives, these tokens, that are distributed, that are your own. The problem is, your opponents have placed them, and so they're always going to be in a bad place. They're going to be on your planet, and your planet, and your planet, and this guy's planet. And so you have to be aggressive, but you have to do so with a plan. You can't just rush in, you'll be destroyed and lost.